Good afternoon, I'm Gary Brode. We're timing out when the rain will end. WBZ's Pamela Gardner joins us with the very latest on your forecast. This afternoon, investigators trying to figure out what sparked this massive fire, which burned 3 homes in Chelsea. Crews were still there today, putting out hot spots. WBZ's Nick Giovanni reports. Tom Brady says he feels really good, which is always great to hear when your quarterback is going into his 19th season. Very light snow. I want to make a snowball so I could throw it at my photographer, but just falling right, trying today. We're live in Nashville. Gary Brode, WBZ this morning. Well, we talked to guests staying at both resorts here on Hampton Beach. They tell us they were told about none of this, and they want to know why. We have been hearing and seeing fire trucks and the sirens coming up and down, and every time we do, you start to get some goosebumps because you're concerned that another fire may have started. There was a strange sequence of events last night. Candidate Lori Trahan went to the podium, addressed her supporters, and seemed to say that she had already won the race. You get to not only do this with one son, but you're enjoying this with 2 of your boys right now. Tell me what that's like for you. It's a great thrill. The explosion happened directly behind me. If you take a look here on the second floor, you can see some of those windows now boarded up. Brianna Spacey then tweeted that weird video, and as you can imagine, it got quite the reaction. It's very fitting. We're talking about coffee at 5 in the morning, but that proposed Starbucks would go directly behind me where you see that Citizens Bank. Hey, good morning, Chris. Yeah, Van Ness yesterday was lined with fans who erupted when the team showed up with the World Series title in hand. Authorities say it started when a man took his wife hostage while police were negotiating with the man. A barn behind that home blew up. That explosion rocked neighbors in the North Haven community. Some even say they felt their home shake. David, the 82-year-old victim, tells me he and his wife were leaving this candy shop. While he was walking to his car, the 2 teenagers jumped over this fence, came up to him, demanded his keys. Okay, brother Bob Flaherty taught and coached here at St. John's Prep since 1999 until 4 days ago. Chris, football and Thanksgiving usually go hand in hand, so this year's going to be a little weird. The worst of it was right here on Main Street. 2 buildings used to stand directly behind me, but because of that extensive damage, they had to tear it down yesterday. So anyone who's ever parked on the street in the city probably had a little bit of anxiety. I just spoke to the homeowner. He tells me he was in the 2nd floor of the house when he smelled the smoke and immediately ran downstairs. A very ominous fog starting to form in this already somber neighborhood. One of those homophobic stickers was placed right here on this electrical box, and as you can see, it has since been taken down. That teenage girl was shot right here on Center Street in front of the very busy Jackson Square MBTA stop, and this all happened in broad daylight. This is one of the worst homes we've seen in this neighborhood. As we kind of pan over here, you can see that explosion apart right behind that basketball hoop there. That home is completely off its axis. Okay, Chris, as you can see, that car remains inside that building. For a decade, Joe Cullen and his family made a lot of memories in their Dorchester home until this morning.
So much smoke, it had already risen up to the 2nd floor of the house.
That smell woke Cullen up. His wife and 9-year-old daughter are on vacation, but Cullen's parental instincts still kicked in, and he ran through the home looking for his daughter.
She's a little kid, she's 9. I got my wits about me. I realized she wasn't home.
He got out, went to a neighbor's, and they called 911. A short time later, crews showed up. The humidity making an already difficult job even harder.
Unfortunately, hot night like tonight, we had to strike extra alarms just to get the guys here for relief because it's a really tough night to fight a fire.
One firefighter was taken to the hospital, expected to be okay. Hours later, Cullen goes back into his home, searching through the rubble. What's kind of the hope to find here?
Probably that hard drive, just because it has 10 years worth of pictures.
Most of his family's belongings now ash. Very little remains.
This is something from my wife's side of the family. It's very sad. I'm going to have to tell her. Obviously, that's going to be really tough for her.
And then he finds what he's looking for.
That's the hard drive, man. Yeah. Doesn't look good. 10 years, maybe more.
Brady Yanoff hasn't smiled much lately.
They make fun of my weight, they make fun of my religion, they make fun of sexual orientation because my older brother is gay, and they just say all these mean things to me.
And last week was a particularly crushing blow when a classmate came up to him in the Stoughton High cafeteria.
He walked up and he said "Hail Hitler," and then he sat down making gestures towards me.
The incident was reported to the school. After a rough couple of days, Brady says talking about what happened has raised his spirits.
I just feel like people are hearing me now.
Last night, his week got even better. One of his favorite artists, country music singer and Southborough native Jesse Chris, pulled him on stage after Chris heard what happened.
I was heartbroken. It hurt more because I know him and I know he's such a special, wonderful person.
Still gets me right now. It was such a happy moment to see him happy again and smiling.
A perfect night in the spotlight for a boy who spent too long in a dark place.
I'm the one that tries to stay away from the spotlight and the crowds and everybody having their eyes on me, and having it change kind of felt different in a good way.
You can sit back and do nothing, or you can sit back and we can pedal and ride these miles, knock these miles out. Let's get it.
Three-time Super Bowl champion Troy Brown decided to do something. Today, his biggest fan, 6-year-old Kean Byrne.
How you doing?
Kean's family got involved in the Pan Mass Challenge 4 years ago when their son was diagnosed with a very rare form of liver cancer. He was 2.
It was a struggle every day, watching your child suffer and wondering, was this going to be the cure, or was he going to be okay?
The chemotherapy permanently damaged his hearing, but today, Kean is happy and in remission.
To see a celebrity or, an ex-NFL player do it, they see that, people do care.
Thanks for riding.
Not every cyclist is famous, but they all make a difference. Evan Hecker rides for his son, Nathan.
6 years ago, my son Nathan was diagnosed with brain tumor.
Hecker raises money for Dana-Farber. The hospital created a trial drug to treat a tumor like his son's. When it started growing again last fall, Nathan was the first child on the planet to be put in the trial.
We're 6 months in and it's working. For the first time in 6 years, his tumor has shrunk.
And like he did last year, this proud son was there to cheer his dad on.
It's really special to me because kids with cancer need medicine so they can get better.